Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Monday night call. I almost said Tuesday. It's been months and I still do that. I am so excited to be here. So excited to have you all join us. It is the first Monday of May. Feels crazy. It's only the 5th, but I already feel like this month has been long. Like I feel like I've lived many days in May already. And it's throwing me off a little bit. Excuse me. Okay, so we're going to start off with this month's incentives. We have amazing things coming up in May, and I'm going to have Tiara take those off for us.
Hello, happy Monday. So there's a lot of good stuff happening this month. Um, I'll start with the most exciting. So it's the refer and earn. So first is you enroll three and you'll earn a Plexus branded hat. That's all month long. And you just have to have an order of 100 PV or more. Or you sign up six and then you get two hats and $400 US. But Plexus made it even better and said if you enroll 12, you'll get your two hats plus $800. So they doubled that bonus, which is super exciting. That's a lot of money. And that's also in US dollars. So the product of the month for US is Vital Biome. In Canada, it's X Factor Kids. And in Australia, I don't know if we have anyone in Australia, but it's the active, the peach mango. And also, this is for US. It's from May 1st to the 14th. For customers who have joined January 2024, so like last January or after that, and if they have not placed an order in the last 3 months or longer, they can get a free bag of hydrate. Or I guess for them, it's like a canister of hydrate, I think, right? In the US. Anyways, they get a free hydrate. And that's with a $75 or more. And the promo code for that is free hydrate in all caps. And then there's more. For new ambassadors who joined Plexus since November 2024 to present, they can get a convention ticket for $49 US. So that is like cheap, cheap. That's a good price. I think I paid a lot more for mine. And then just the current contest, there's like the Jewel Momentum bonus for all the jewels and above. There's a fast start refresh. I think those two end this month. So last month to earn those. And then the OA and OA is also the last month this month, I think, right? And double enrollment credits on that this month. So that's super exciting. And that's all I have.
That's a lot. That's a lot. I'm very excited. So yes, the Olay and Away last month, double enrollment credits. And so there is still 100% a chance to make it. If you haven't mapped out what that would look like for you, I encourage you to go do it. But we also have some very exciting news. Very exciting news. This month, oh, can you guys see that? Make sure I have so many pages open. Yay! We have the Restore coming this month. I am so excited. So excited. Like, so insanely excited. So May 22nd of this month, the Restore is officially coming to Canada. And yes, it's coming in that cute little canister instead of in the bags for Canada. So I don't know about you, but for me, that's a huge, huge deal. I am so thrilled. So thrilled. Excuse me. And so with that, I'm going to have Lena share a little bit with us about the Restore and why we should be really excited about it. Like yeah, I'm so thrilled.
I don't know why. This is probably not related, but I all of a sudden almost felt like throwing up. I haven't shared in too long. I think that's what. But anyway, Sheila asked me at like 3 today if I wanted to share about Restore, and I was like, I guess you're looking at me and asking me. I have to say yes, but I am excited, because it's one that I really love myself. So it's impossible to avoid toxins because like these days because of air pollution, the foods we eat, chemicals in our skincare, clothing, cleaning supplies. It's like everywhere. Um, and our liver is our body's best filter, and it flushes out and filters through everything that we eat or gets absorbed through our skin. And our liver has over 500 functions, things like digesting proteins, um, making vitamins, storing minerals, and regulating blood sugars. And not to mention producing bile, which is what converts fat into fuel. All this and filtering out toxins. Like what happens when it gets overloaded? Like, are you surprised that so many of us aren't feeling our best? Um, this is where Restore comes in. It's a delicious lemon berry flavored drink that you can drink cold or warm. I like it warm best. It's just like a fun little treat before bed. It helps with three major things: cellular defense, digestion support, and appetite control. So, the three ingredients that help with cellular defense is spinach, spirulina, and aloe vera. So these ingredients are all antioxidants that help with our healthy aging, keeping our, I was going to say anti-aging, which not that doesn't happen, but it helps with healthy aging, keeping our cells healthy, and helping our bodies create energy, and it helps to repair cells, which is all pretty awesome. Sure, go ahead. I was asking for things. The second thing it helps with is digestion support. And we all know that Plexus doesn't do anything halfway. And when it comes to gut health, we do it better than anyone else. And so the ingredients that help with that are ginger root and peppermint. And not only are those soothing for the gut, they're also thermogenic, which means like helps us to burn fat and boost our metabolism. Um, and the appetite control part of it, a lot of us can probably relate when I say that I need this. How often don't we eat because we're bored, stressed, or it's just there and we just easily just, without even thinking about it, we just go and graze things. So the ingredients that help with the appetite control is hibiscus flower powder, yeast hydroxylate, and berberine and magnolia bark. So when berberine and magnolia bark are paired together, they work so much better. And not only do they suppress our appetite, these ingredients have autophagy properties. And that means like emptying out and getting rid of all the garbage and toxins in our liver. And it also helps decrease cortisol, which is our stress hormone. So all of these ingredients that are in there are like very rich in antioxidants. They're anti-inflammatory and they support our liver. So I think everybody could benefit from this ingredient. And yeah, that's all that I had. But I feel like that's a lot. Like I'm the kind of person I don't need to know why things work. I just if they work, that's all I need. But I know that just knowing what everything in there does is also quite nice, even for someone like me who doesn't care what's in there as long as it works.
Just adds that extra layer of belief. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, that's why that works so well. Like,
Yeah.
how nice. I know. I'm always like I love knowing the little details and stuff, but I've relaxed a lot over the years and I don't find it as necessary anymore, especially because I have a lot of trust in Plexus. I know that they're going to do what's best for us. And so now I'm sometimes like when I hear things about a new product, I'm like, "Ooh, that's really cool." Like yeah, go figure Plexus is going to do it the best way possible, right? Like they always do. They always go above and beyond. So thank you, Lena. You're such a natural at that. Like seriously, appreciate it so much. So this next topic has been like spinning around in my head for such a long time. I'm a very firm believer in that there's no such thing as coincidence. And a couple weeks ago, one of my devotions, I love learning about history. I love nerdy things like that. So if that's up your alley, then today is going to be completely in your zone. I love knowing the the meaning behind things. Like I love knowing the meaning behind somebody's name or how was that used in the past? Like I love knowing things like that. And so I have a devotion that I use. Um, and basically it's in for the New Testament and it takes the original Greek word of the verse, of the Bible verse, and it explains it in depth so that you get the real context of what it means um, from Bible times. And it's really cool. So a few weeks ago, I had a devotion that was all about reaping and sowing. And it just blew my mind. Like, I was so thrilled. I was like, this is so cool. Like, everybody needs to hear this. And since then, I have been seeing it everywhere, legitimately everywhere. I know it's your, or was it RAS, reticular articulating service, whatever it is, your little thingamabobber in your brain that when you see, you want a white car, so now you see white cars everywhere. I know that's part of it, but I also believe very firmly that God said, Sheila, right now you have some lessons to learn, and this is what I want you to learn. And so I'm going to shove it in your face until you learn it. And apparently I'm a bit of a slow learner, and he keeps shoving it in my face. So here we are. They say the best way to learn something is by teaching it. And so that's what we're going to do tonight, right? So we are going to go into the one verse. It is Galatians 6, verse 7. And I made some slides because I'm not going to pronounce any of these Greek words, and you can read them.
Mommy,
Because if I try to pronounce them, I will butcher them. What do you want, Sadie? You can get the iPad, you can sit down right there, and you can do some of your playhouse for a little bit, okay? Okay.
getting donuts.
Or that, yep. Okay. I don't know. You're going to have to go find it yourself. Can we all see that clearly? Yes, perfect. Okay. Galatians 6, verse 7 is be not deceived. God is not mocked. For whatever a man sows, that he shall also reap. And I mean, it looks really self-explanatory, right? We are in planting season. It's spring. And so you sow a seed. I'm going to sow a bunch of seeds in my garden, hopefully by the end of this month. And I'm hoping that when I plant carrot seeds, I'm going to be getting carrots in that row. And when I plant my zucchini, I will be getting zucchini in that spot, not squash. Like, whatever you plant, that's what you sow. And as I've been thinking about this and it's been popping up everywhere, I keep seeing things like even John Maxwell's talking about it. I was like, what? Even my John Maxwell is talking about if you don't like the crop you're reaping, check the seed you're sowing. I was like, oh gosh, even he has things to say about this. Okay, so this principle of it's like the law of reaping and sowing is what they call it. The law of reaping and sowing. And it's so true that Paul, when he's talking to the Galatians, when he starts talking to them, he's telling them to not question its validity. He's telling them that this is legitimate. I don't even want you to start questioning it. And that's where deceived comes in. So this right here looks like plain, that word. Basically, that's the Greek word for deceived. And it means to lead astray, to wander, to stagger, to be led off course, or to be influenced, or to be affected by someone's influence and led in the wrong direction. So that's the very basic description of deceived. And so it's usually used to depict the activity of false teachers who deliberately wanted to lead people from liberty into a teaching that enslaved them. And so to really, really think about it, this was, you need to turn that way down, honey. Come bring it here, please. That's very loud. Gotta turn that way down. There, now go sit down. This word was like used in the Bible times when Paul was teaching to explain a false teacher trying to lead maybe a new Christian, maybe somebody who had just come to Christ to lead them away. They were like basically like trying to gaslight them, That's kind of the words that I would think of as. So when he writes this, he uses a tense that could make this be translated into stop being deceived, not do not be deceived. The tense, the way this word is used, it's like It's like the Galatians were already being deceived, and he was looking at the church and he was looking at them and he was seeing, you guys are already being deceived. You need to stop this. You need to see that you can't mock God, that this law is legitimate. And so he's telling them, buck up. What you reap is what you're going to sow. And so we have that very much that same depiction in society today. A lot of people laugh at those who believe that God will multiply their finances, or that when they have faith in God that he'll come through for them. People laugh at that, right? That they're going to have faith that, yes, I know God will give us a baby, or I know God will do this, or I know God will do this. People laugh at them, at their faith. And a lot of new Christians struggle with that. They struggle with that because what if he doesn't? What if he doesn't follow through? What if? What if we're not meant to be wealthy? What if God's call is for us to be meek and lowly also means that we're poor and destitute? What if those two are actually combined? What if God's people were never meant to be the people that carry the wealth that it impacts the world, right? So we have these warring ideas and people get deceived. And this is Paul is literally telling the Galatians, do not be deceived. But he shuts this down so quickly. He says, God is not mocked. And what that means is mocked is this very large word, and it means to turn up one's nose at someone as if laughing or mocking at the person. I mean, that's very obvious description, right? And so it's kind of like arrogantly saying, oh, come on, you can't surely believe that what you're going to sow, you're going to reap. You can't surely believe that if you're going to be, and this goes for all areas of life, you can't surely believe that if you're going to be loving to everybody, that you're going to get that back. People are going to be mean to you. You can't surely believe that if you're going to be a crabby lady in the store, that people are just going to be nice to you, or are they going to be crabby back to you? Like, stick with me. So usually when we see this attitude of people being like, well, they watch us, right? They watch us. People, this is very common in network marketing. Usually when people see this, it's because they have come from some sort of negative experience. They have some sort of negative experience. And so they have sowed something once and they did not magically get results. And so then they believe it doesn't work. I prayed once. I spoke to one person. I tried the pink drink once. Do you know what I mean? They don't stick with it. And so then they become bitter and they walk around and they're like, that's not how it works. That's not how it works because that didn't work for me. They're like, MLMs don't work. I mean, if you've heard this before, let me know in the comments because I feel like we all have. And so Paul saw this happening in the church. He saw people being deceived. He saw people being pulled away. And so he says, what a man sows, he reaps. And so sows is this word. And it specifically means any seed that is sown. It doesn't just mean a seed, it means any seed. And so this law is applicable not only to finances, but anything in life. Love, work, time, patience, kindness, forgiveness, bitterness, selfishness, money, anything. And then he goes on to say, whatever, which is this word. Whatever thing, no matter what he sows. So he says it twice to really, really reiterate. It can be anything. Don't just expect God to work in one area. It can be anything. So whatever, again, we're reminded that like this law applies to every aspect of life. It's a very simple fact. Whatever you sow, no matter what it is, you will reap it. So if you are sowing joy and gratitude into your life, you will reap more of it. If you are sowing anger into your home, that is what you are going to get out. The Greek tense in this passage, so like in this part with the sows and the whatever, the Greek tense, how it's used isn't just used singular. So it's not just used one time. It's used repetitively over and over and over again. And that means, so because Paul would be speaking to the Galatians in Greek, they would be understanding this, and they would understand that, you know how translation loses some things, right? I speak Low German, and some words are not the same in English. They just are not the same. You can't even find a word that makes sense for that word in English. And this is kind of where that gets lost in translation. So here we can say whatever he sows. We can think, oh yeah, he's planting a seed. Really what it means is he does this over and over and over and over and over again. Really, this verse could be translated whatever a man sows, 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 and keeps on sowing over and over and over again. It doesn't mean that you stop. It literally means you keep going. You do not stop. You are faithfully sowing every single day. And if you sow steadily and faithful, God's promise is that you will reap over and over and over and over again. And the reason why most people walk away disgusted is because they sowed once and waited for a harvest and nothing came. And then they threw up their hands and walked away and said it didn't work. Did it not work, or did they not work for it? It wasn't the seed that they sowed. It's not up to us to grow the seed. It's up to us to plant the seed. We are not God. All we are here for is to plant the seed and then have faith and let Him do His job. We follow up, we water, we love on people, but we're not going to make it grow. That's not on us. And that goes with every aspect of life. Every aspect of life. The level at which you sow determines the level at which you reap. You sow just a little bit, you reap a little bit. You sow a lot, you reap a lot. You sow inconsistently, you reap inconsistently. You sow very consistently, you reap very consistently. And I see this. I said, oh, I see this in my business. I see this so clearly. I see the gaps. I see it. So then if we jump 2 verses and go to Galatians 6:9, and it says, and let us not grow weary in doing well, for in due season you will reap if you do not lose heart, or if you do not faint. And due season, even in today's day and age, we have different times at which we have harvest. When we have harvest up in northern Alberta is very different compared to when they have harvest in Texas. It's two different times. And the amount of rain, the conditions at which we plant in are completely different. And so this is where you have to knock out all comparison. You cannot look to the left and you cannot look to the right, because harvest is going to look different for different people in different seasons of life. What you need to focus on is continuing to sow those seeds, continuing to give, because your harvest will come if you stay faithful and if you do not give up. Your harvest may just come at a different time. It's not up to you when that time is going to be, but if you sow faithfully, it will come. And we get to remember that no farmer plants a seed one day and expects a crop the next day. We're already starting to see tractors on the fields and they're sowing their seeds now. But they're not going to be going onto the field tomorrow and checking to see if that seed's coming up, because they know that it's going to take time for itself to bury into the ground and to germinate and to grow. That takes time. That takes time. So we're going to look at the word faint, which is this word. And basically it means to loosen up, to lose altogether, or to relax. And this is a warning to us. This is a warning for us to be on guard, because the devil will put a bug in your ear. And I've had a bug in my ear, 100%. He'll come and he'll say, this doesn't work. You've tried long enough. You're tired. Take a break. Relax. You deserve a break after all of the work that you've done. And what happens? Eventually you give up all completely. You just stop. Didn't work anyway. Why should I keep going? But did it not work, or did you not work? And I get to be really real We get to be really real with ourselves. Where are we at? Have faith and don't give up, because what you sow and what you give is what you will get back. So what have you been sowing into your life? And I just love how everything we learn in this business covers all aspects of our life. What are we sowing in our lives? Are you proud of the crops in your life? Is it a bumper year? Or have your few seeds been choked out by the weeds? Where are you sitting at? And I had a really great call with some of my leaders today, and we were talking about this. And I said, I have been sowing seeds of mediocrity. That's what I've been sowing. I have been mediocre in so many areas of my life, not just my business, but in my fitness and different areas where I have big goals. I've been mediocre, where I could have been so much more consistent. You can also be in a place where you are harvesting from past faithfulness and yet not sowing for future. And so I am in a place where I feel like, yeah, I'm harvesting things that I worked for really hard in the past, and I'm living off of the benefit of that. And I'm so grateful for that. But am I sowing seeds for the future? Am I consistently giving? And that often looks very selfless. That looks, how am I serving others? How am I serving my community? How am I serving my family? How am I serving my team? How does that look for me? How am I serving in my marriage and into my children? In all areas of our life, and how am I serving in my business? How am I serving on social media? I took a short little break from social media because of this. I sat down, I said to myself, am I doing what I believe is best on here? And I had to have a little like come to Jesus moment with myself, because I felt like I was just doing the bare minimum. And I was like, I'm not giving value like that. I'm not serving people well like that. I'm not showing up the best way that I could possibly show up for people that way. If I really truly want to be out here and make a difference and make an impact on the world and make an impact on my family's life, then I need to be showing up in areas that I know is going to bring value. And so I sat down and I said, what are my top core values? And I wrote down 10, and then I narrowed it down, and I had about a handful of them, just a few, under 5. And I was like, okay, these are my most important things. If I filter everything I do through these most important things, then I know I will be working within my zone of where I will be bringing value to the world and working towards my future goals, because everything I do is going to be run through these few values. And I was like, okay, now I get to do that consistently, and I get to sow it consistently so that I will reap the harvest in the future. And so I'd love to hear from you guys. I'd love to hear, where are you at right now? Do you feel like you are sowing consistently? Do you feel like you're reaping the rewards of what you have already sown in the past? Do you feel like maybe you get to have a realish chat with yourself too, like I had to? A lot of us have really big goals, really big goals. And there's some exciting things to work towards. But those goals are not just going to happen. We get to show up for them. And we get to do our best to achieve them. And that is going to be achieved by sowing those seeds, planting those seeds, talking to people, reaching out, sharing boldly. I felt like I have been watering myself down a little bit. Am I sharing boldly enough? I'm gonna be real. I see women from other companies and they are bold. They are loud and bold. And I'm like, I'm not that bold. And I have a whole lot more to be bold about if I'm gonna be honest. I got a lot I could say. And so I have completely revamped my frame of thinking. I'm walking into this. I'm like, I'm going to be bold and I'm going to be out there and I am working towards these goals. And I'm going to pick up the shovel and do it. So I'd love to hear from you guys. I'd love for us to have a little bit of a discussion time. Ramona, I love that. Matthew 17:20. If you have faith as a mustard seed, nothing will be impossible for you. I went to the gym once. That's a really good example. I went to the gym once and I don't have a six-pack of abs. That's a really good example. I drank water once and I'm still dehydrated. I know people who just drink coffee all day. You guys have some awesome comments here.
I'm going to add one piece that I feel like is also applicable here. John's being really loud with cleaning out the dishwasher. I don't know if he wants you to know that he's doing it or whatever, but you can hear him there. I think the other piece that we also reap what we sow is here in between your ears. What goes on in here is what is actually going to be transpiring into your life. And so if you're constantly fighting self-doubt, if you're constantly repeating phrases of imposter syndrome, I've done some, but I can't do it again. Like they think I'm a fraud, blah, 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 blah. We have enough self-doubt and incompetency feelings for the world, each one of us. And none of us even needs to use it. And so that I feel is probably almost the starting point of where this is going to change, is when you say, I'm going to be bold. I'm, like Sheila said, there's other companies out there, a couple of those girls, I bet you anything, they don't make $50 a month and they are bold. Because if you know their company and if you know their products and if you know their comp plan, we wouldn't be doing it for what they do. But they're there because they have such strong belief that they feel like they can do this. And rightfully so, they can, right? So what you are thinking and what you are putting out there is what you're going to get back. And I feel like that's a huge reminder to me to be very, very mindful of where my thoughts are taking me before I sit down to do my reach outs, before I actually connect that person to what I do, ask for a business ask, all those things. This morning, I had a 2-hour, very, very intense back and forth conversation. And I'm proud to say that I held my own. I didn't judge her by tone, but she was very adamant that supplements are all gimmicks. She came from Beachbody. It was garbage. It is a scam to ask other people to help you build so that you can make money. And I said to her, you're only speaking from your experience. So I can speak from mine too. And I don't have your opinion. And so rightfully so, we can agree to disagree because my experience was completely different than what hers was, right? And so both being Christian women, I said to her, I'm not going to knock what you're saying. There's a lot of evidence to support what you are putting out there. We can take a look at it everywhere. But there's also a lot of evidence to support what I am putting out there. I can show you pages and pages of people who have done what I have done, and that you could do that too. And so at the end, she was gracious and she said, I really thought that you would delete me. And I said, I am not that kind of a friend. I'm not that soft. I've been here for many years. My skin is thick. My goal is not to convince you. My goal is to show you that my opinion is just as valid as yours. And so we ended at that. And she, is still my friend. Your mindset is going to determine so many things of what you reap and sow.
That's so good. So good. It literally goes for every aspect of everything. Everything. And yes, there's negative in any job. It is what we focus on that matters. It's what we focus on. And I was that kid, and I'm trying to teach this to my oldest daughter now. And so I have so much respect for my mother that she had to deal with me all those years, truly. I was that kid. I would hyperfixate on things that could go wrong or might possibly go wrong, so much so that I made myself sick all the time. And I have a child that does the same thing now. And trying to teach them that you get to choose what you think. You get to choose what you focus on, and what you focus on grows. You reap what you sow. And so if you're going to focus on what everything that could go wrong, it will. It will, because that's where you're putting your energy. But if you're going to focus on everything that could possibly go right, that's why you see some people massively winning, because it's where their focus is. It's where they're putting all of their energy. So where are we putting all of our energy? I'm like, too often I'm putting too much of my energy in where could things go wrong. I think that's very human nature of us, but we get to change that. We get to switch our focus. And like I said today to some of my leaders as we were sitting down, I also noticed that I have been saying the words have to too much recently. I have to do this. I have to do that. No, I don't have to. I actually don't have to do anything. I get to. I get to do these things. And I was quickly trying to get my youngest to lie down for a nap today because she's growing, so she's tired. And I didn't have a lot of window of time. And I was like, oh, I hope you fall asleep fast. Like, fall asleep, because I need to get on this call in time. And I was like, oh, I have to make you go to sleep. And I was like, no, wait, I don't have to. I get to lie down with you here until you fall asleep because I have done this business, because I've worked so hard that I get to stay at home. I get to be that mom that I always wanted to be. That was my goal. And by just switching my focus a little bit, it completely changed my perspective. I don't have to. I get to. I get to. And so in all of this, what am I reaping on a daily basis? Am I reaping joy into my home? Am I sowing gratitude into my children? Am I sowing gratitude into my business, or am I procrastinating it and avoiding it? Where is my focus and what am I focusing on? And so I don't know. It was very um eye-opening for me. It gave me a good moment to evaluate where I'm at and where I want to go. And I hope that it's been able to do the same for you guys. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Way to go, Susanna. That is amazing. Mom, did you have anything else you wanted to add today? If anybody has
I,
anything they want to share, did you have anything you wanted to add?
I think I'm good. I think it's a good time to go and check out the goals that you want to set for May. That's what I was working on today, was looking at how many days I have, how many people am I reaching out to, where are the people in my conversations, what is coming up for this month, taking all things into consideration, and then you can look to see where you want to filter people. So don't just look at the incentive and say, oh, 12 people, I'm never going to get 12 people. No, you might not. You might not. But if you actually go through all the channels and look at who you've been all talking to, do a lot of follow up. I think Ramona just talked about
Yeah, she did.
doing follow up and stuff, right? And then just looking at what is all available. Like the events are there. Holly's having an event in Grand Prairie. We're doing an event in La Crete. You can bring guests there too. There's so many places where you can funnel people through. And all of a sudden, you're going to realize, oh, this one is ready. Oh, I need to talk to her. She's almost ready. And maybe I can do a 3-way chat with this one because she has someone ready. It'll start rolling more instead of just looking at the big piece and thinking, I can't do that. Just start with the small steps.
Mhm. Oh, yes, that's perfect. And I was just saying, I think to Lena today, I was like, we often want to know that big picture. We
Mhm.
want to see the whole big picture, but in reality, all we see in front of us is the next step. So, what is your next right step to take? And then trust God with the rest. Take that next best step Okay, well, my next best step is, like Tiara and I were talking about, doing our reach outs first, not last. Because if we do them first, and then everything else seems so easy. So let's do those first. That's my next right step. And then after that, what's my next right step? And then just going from there, because we're never going to be able to see the whole picture. We're always just going to be able to see one step in front of us. And then you'll be able to look back and see, oh, I did all of that. I did all of that by just taking one step at a time.
This has been so good. It's been a really good reminder for me too.
Thank you guys all for being here. Appreciate you all. And have a great evening.